what are some of like the top brands or model lights here in 2023 that you recommend people to check out?
It kind of depends on your price point, to be perfectly honest with you. I definitely think there's ways to waste a lot of money on lights. I think there's a lot of expensive lights on the market that, for me, don't justify the return on investment. I mean, there is no return on investment. So to be aware of sort of that side, due to the changes in the market over the last, like we've been talking about, decade, you can get really decent quality lights for not a lot of money. And there's no reason to pay sort of a tremendous premium. 5 years ago, there was a reason to pay a tremendous premium for LED lights because the difference between the top of the market and the bottom of the market was really significant. And the only way you could get the high efficiency fixtures was to shell out sort of the premium prices for those products. A lot of those companies are continuing to try to demand a premium price, but they're no longer offering sort of a compelling advantage over lower cost competitors. So, just to be aware of that, I see a lot of growers and I'm thinking, man, you didn't have to spend that much. I mean, this is really even more true in the commercial side of growing now than in the home grow side, although I think it's sort of true on both sides that there's a certain sense of luxury pricing where people think that if I'm spending more for something, I'm getting a better quality product. In the end, I think, you want to pay attention to these sort of statistics that we've been talking about, making sure you're getting a quality fixture. With whatever fixture you're getting, making sure like things, they're not overpowering the diodes. They're not sort of goosing the numbers in that way. Look at diode count, I think is really something that I'd encourage you to look at, even over brand of fixture, brand of light. At the lower end, because you did ask about brands, I've reviewed several of the Metagrow fixtures that are down in the 30 cents per micromole territory. And I'm working with a couple different commercial growers now that have used those, have set up the Metagrow lights in their facilities and have been happy with them. So I'm continuing to sort of keep my eye on that. That's one I first reviewed, I think, about 3 years ago now. And at that time, I was like, this price is too good to be true. Like, what's the catch on this? The more mainstream discount brands, Mars Hydros, your Spider Farmers of the world, those they do a lot of direct marketing. They do a lot of marketing through Amazon. They have a pretty big chunk of the home grow market in terms of market cap. A lot of their fixtures are pretty decent. They're a little bit more expensive than the Metagrow fixtures, but they're pretty decent fixtures. I from both of those companies, Spider Farmer and Mars Hydro, I prefer their sort of more discounted line over their more premium line. In both cases, they have a premium line that uses the Samsung LM301B diodes, which have gotten, and we should probably talk a little bit about that because it's like the one brand name of diode that growers really know, them and the Osram 660 nanometers, that growers often look for specifically. But I think that sometimes gets you into trouble, and this is a good sort of case point of it. Spider Farmer and Mars Hydro both have their top end product lines that use the Samsung LM301H and Osram 660 nanometers. They have reasonable diode quantities and sort of a higher price tag. Both those companies also have sort of a more discounted line that uses BridgeLux diodes. And they use like 3 times as many BridgeLux diodes as they use of the Osram diodes. Granted, the BridgeLux diodes are not as high or rated for as high of wattage, but they're still powering them at a lower percentage of the rated capacity than they are of the Samsungs. And that makes the BridgeLux diodes ever so slightly more efficient than the Samsung diodes in their top end sort of model lines. So even though the diodes themselves aren't quite as good, they're using so many more of them that it ends up being more efficient because you're powering them less. And when you power a diode at a lower current, it's more efficient. When you try to like step on the gas, you just get more light, but at lower and lower efficiencies. So you step on the gas harder. So those are interesting sort of things to think about, even amongst different brands. Moving up sort of a little bit from there, and I can justify some of these fixtures in terms of different features and different sort of options and things that they have. Worked with Photon Tech. The Photon Tech is Lumatech in the rest of the world. They have nice fixtures. They're like 50% more than the Mars Hydro Spider Farmer fixtures of the world. And they're like 60-70% more than the Metagrow fixtures. Sometimes even more than that. So, at a certain point, it becomes hard to justify anything kind of above there. There's certainly companies that are trying to market higher quality lights or other gimmicks in lights. But, the real differentiation is what we talked about. How many photons can you create and how well do you do at distributing them across the grow space? Every other thing that grow light manufacturers are trying to do, we were at MJ BizCon and you'd see all these grow light manufacturers that have like angle, they can adjust the angle on the LED bars so you can like tilt them back and forth like that. The supplemental UV and supplemental IR bars are including UV and IR diodes, and it's just gimmicks. It's literally just gimmicks to try to differentiate from other people in the market and or sell more lights or charge more money. A lot of talk about tunable spectrums and, or proprietary spectrums, or it's just mumbo jumbo. It's not related to anything. It's marketing babble. Pay attention to how many photons are created, how efficient it is, and how much it costs. How hard the diodes are driven is probably the next most important factor to consider. So how many diodes there are in total and how much power is there. You want to have, 3 to 4 diodes per watt is a good sort of rule to just take to evaluating like any standard grow light. And there may be reasons that I would agree that you'd accept lower than that depending on what the diodes were. But in general, you want 3 to 4 diodes per watt. If you have less than that, you're going to burn out your diodes faster, regardless of what brand the diodes are, and you're not going to run as efficiently. Sort of more diodes than that, you may increase the longevity of your light. But all LEDs are going to sort of lose efficiency through time. So if you buy an LED and you're running it at 100% out of the box, you may need to supplement light after 5 years or replace it after 5 years. A lot of the commercial growers I work with, we plan so that they're only running it at like 85% out of the box and can ramp up power over the next few years to extend the life of their fixtures. Hopefully I said enough about brands in there. Do you want to add anything or any specific brands that you'd like feedback on?
Well, yeah, I was going to ask you about like what I kind of call the big three coming out of China. You already kind of touched on Mars Hydro, Spider Farmer, and Viper Spectra is the other one I kind of want to name. That they're coming out with really cost efficient.
Not like the other, so that's really there's a real relationship between Mars Hydro and Spider Farmer. Viper Spectra is a completely different entity. I think of them slightly different, although I like the new Viper Spectra bar lights. For home growers in particular, I think that they are actually better than the better at distribution because they're a little bit bigger than the Mars and the Spider Farmer fixtures. I agree. I should have brought them up. I also think they're a good source of even smaller lights.
This clip is brought to you by AC Infinity. Use discount code MrGrow at 15 to save on any of their products.
you.